Welcome back to Prince Matthews TV. This is your boy Prince, and basically today I want to talk about people who try to guilt trip you from pursuing your dreams. Okay. Now, this topic came to me because I was watching some videos, right? And I noticed a common theme, you know, and the common theme was people wanted to do things, they wanted to accomplish things, they wanted to provide something to the world, they wanted to showcase their talents to the world or wherever it may be. But there was always someone who was trying to guilt trip them into not doing that, for whatever reason, right? And I've heard so many different reasons, right? Some people thought, oh yeah, this person's being selfish, or um, don't do that because you have children or you have a kid, or whatever reason, right? And I thought about it and I'm just like, damn, it seemed like a lot of people are having this issue. So let me go ahead and make a little video about it. You know, me personally, I've experienced that before, where, people would try to guilt trip you from not pursuing something just based on the fact that, you know, you want to do it, but it conflicts with what they want you to do. And at the end of the day, if your program conflicts with someone else wants you to do, then they need to get off of, they need to either get on your program or they need to get out, right? They need to go open that door right there, right? Because at the end of the day, you only have one life to live. And I feel as though people, they really need to express themselves. They at least need to try, like for me, if I fail at something, I don't care as long as I try. Because if you try, you can't fail, right? But you have people who try to guilt trip you into things, right? Like I remember, when I was like, hey, I want to start a business, right? I remember there were people, because I come from the world of public service. There were people looking at me crazy, like, oh, you capitalist? Yeah, well, yeah, but I'm a big public servant, right? And I don't have to say that. But the thing is this, I'm a bigger public servant. I'm more dedicated to public service than they are. I don't do it for a check. They do it for a check, but they looking at me like I'm crazy because I want to go ahead and start a business, because I'm like, hey, well, check this out. I tried to do things the way that I wanted to do them. It didn't pan out the way I wanted it to because I don't have the sovereignty over the resources that we're utilizing to actually do the public service. So, in turn, I want to start my own businesses and stuff so that I can come up with the fiduciary funds so that I can go ahead and do exactly what I want to do for who I wanted to do it for, exactly when I want to do it, with no strings attached, And if I can do it, I'm going to pursue it. If you can do it, pursue it. Let's make that a new slogan, right? So check this out. So, people looking at me crazy, and I'm like, okay, y'all looking at me crazy, but at the end of the day, I'm trying. Because I tried to do it this way. If I keep doing it this way and it's not working, it's insanity if I just keep on trying it that way. I got to go ahead and try to get it some other type of way. And if I don't, then I'm probably going to fail. Because when you leave your destiny in other people's hands, they're going to probably fumble it. You can have the whole world in your hands. But if you try to switch hands, you might fumble it and drop it. You might drop the whole world. And that happens. And that's what happens when you try to switch things up. But people, they look at you like you're funny. So, like what I mentioned earlier about, people kind of, trying to guilt trip me from not, pursuing my dreams and stuff like that. That was my example, but I heard people, other people, they were talking about, like if they had kids, right? And people are like, hey, you need to provide the best life possible for your kids. It's like, okay, yes, that's true, right? At least try to, right? But at the same time, you do owe it to yourself to pursue your dreams. Like I feel as though you can figure out a nice balance. Like you don't necessarily have to be 100% into whatever your craft may be and invest all your money into that, or your resources, and all your resources such as time, money, energy, and all that. You can still be a great parent and pursue your dreams. You know, matter of fact, you can actually end up being a better parent, because if you're the type of person who's going to pursue your dreams and you're going to keep your imagination going and you're going to keep that creativity and that innovation going in your mind, um, you're going to more than likely you're going to teach your kids that, and it's going to rub off on them. You know, they're probably not going to get stuck in a rat race. And if you are an employee, there's nothing wrong with that, right? But if you are, right, you can still, because there's a lot of great professions out there that that it's like, hey, you know, I may work for someone, but this is my dream. This is what I want to do, right? And your kids, your children, they'll still look at you and be like, wow, I want to be like my mom. I want to be like my dad. I want to be, it don't even have to be your kids. It could be your nephews, your nieces, or whatever, right? They like, I want to be this, person. I want to be like this person, and they take things from you, because 9 times out of 10, when I think back on, inspiring people, they didn't always get W's. No one always get W's, right? A lot of them took L's, but in my eyes, they weren't losers. They were winners, even after taking the L's. It's because of the mentality that they had. They had a winner's mentality, right? But like I said, there's people out there, they don't want you to pursue your dreams and all that. I think a lot of times people are really selfish, and they'll call you selfish, and they're projecting, and they're like, oh yeah, well, I think you're being selfish by doing this, because you could be doing this with your money, or you could be doing this with your time, or this with your energy, or you could be giving me your time, your money, your energy, or whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, you're in this alone. You're in this alone. And what I mean by that is that you can have a mom, a dad, a significant other. It could be your boyfriend, your girlfriend, spouse, whatever, right? It could be a kid. It could be your friend. It could be anybody, right? Your teacher. If you're religious, it could be, a religious leader or something like that. Your rabbi, your pastor, whatever it may be, spiritual leader, right? It could be anybody. It could be a goddamn stranger. It could be a homeless man who's asking for $5 because, he wants to go get a booze and, get a little hamburger, right? But at the end of the day, this is your life, and you owe it to yourself to go ahead and pursue those things, because I guarantee you this, you're going to always regret the things that you didn't do. You're not going to regret the things that you did do. Sometimes you look back and you're like, damn, like sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh man, like I remember spending money on stuff back when I was like 16, 15 and all that. And I wish I can go back then and save all that money. And I spend it on those things. But at the same time, I look back and I'm like, well, you know what? I'm glad that I did, because if I didn't, then I wouldn't have the same mentality that I have now, probably, because my mentality came from experiences, and buying those things, spending money on frivolous things, that was an experience, But yeah, definitely, do your thing, pursue your dreams, pursue your goals, get things done. If you fail, keep on trying, keep on trying, But yeah, don't let other people guilt trip you into not pursuing your dreams, And people don't say a lot of other things too. Like they're going to say things about you. Like they're going to be like, oh, well, you're too old, or you're too young, or you're too tall, you're too skinny, you're too fat, you're too whatever, right? I remember, man, you know what? I remember there was people who were telling me, and check this out, right? I was raised in a black community, all right? Now, the older black folks, I don't remember any younger folks. It was people, they were all older than me, right? They used to always tell me this. They're like, oh yeah, well, check this out, Prince. You're going to have to cut your hair because corporate America isn't going to like you having long hair, right? So I was like, man, screw all that. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm like, well, just because none of y'all did it doesn't mean that I can't do it. You know what I mean? And shoot, if they don't like it, I'll go somewhere else, right? I'll figure something else out, right? But I don't think it has nothing like it's the dumbest attribute, because I keep my hair neat. So it's like it's the dumbest attribute to discriminate against someone. Like, well, not the dumbest, right? Because I would say anything with dealing with your physical appearance, like your skin color and all that, because that's what came to mind. When I was just like the dumbest, oh, well, probably skin color, right? But all these things, right? It's like it has nothing to do with the content of your character, right? So I was like, man, whatever. I'm gonna make people, shift their minds, their whole dichotomy on that, right? So check this out. So as I was, climbing up the ladder, professionally, I noticed that people actually gravitated towards me because of my hair. Because of it. Because they're like, hey, you look different. It's like my name, my hair, my personality. It's like, hey, this guy's different. So let's hang around him. Because he's the type of person who's going to give us something that's different. He's not the cookie cutter person, or he's not, let's say like for, professionalism sake, that, let's say I'm at an organization, right? And it's a predominantly white organization, and they have maybe, let's say, 98% of people who work at that organization are white, right? They're not going to look at me and be like, hey, look, it's a token black guy, or it's a token Choctaw guy or anything like that. No, they're not going to say that. They're going to just be like, yo, this dude's dope. Like, because what I mean by that is this, right? Check this out. The typical black dude in corporate America looks the same. They wear a black suit, maybe a little matching tie, right? They have an even Steven. That's your typical black dude in corporate America, right? Now, when I walk in the door, I'm way different, right? I got the nice black suit, but I also got the crazy nice shoes. I got the shoes that might be a different color. I got the suits that might be different color. I got my own style. I got my own swagger, I don't have a typical name. I don't have a typical background. I don't have a typical educational background. I don't have a typical look. I don't have a typical anything, really. I'm just going to be honest with you, That's just kind of how my life has been made up, and that's how I pretty much live my life, and I'm just me, I just do what I do, kind of like a shark being a shark. I'm just being me, right? And yeah, so they usually gravitate towards me, because I stand out. And I noticed that a lot of people that, I've been in, these circles with, it's kind of like they hit like a glass ceiling at a certain point. And I feel as though these people are talented, but they don't stand out enough to actually make it to that next level, And sometimes these people, they can make it to a higher level than me, based on the fact that they play the game so well. But I'm not playing the game. I'm just doing what I feel as though is right at the moment, right? I know that's a little tangent or whatever, but I mean, that's just something that I experience, in my pursuits, where people were just like, but it came from black people. They're like, hey, you're going to have to cut your hair, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, no, you just want me to cut my hair. That's what you want me to do. Just because you couldn't do it. You couldn't pull it off, And I remember telling some students, right, in grad school, it was a group. In this group, it was consisting of everyone in the group. It was a group of black people, right? So everybody in the group was black, right? So I'm sitting around the table, right? And I'm just like, check this out. I'm like, y'all sitting here talking about conforming to the norms of society. I'm like, man, fuck society. Straight up. I'm like, do what the fuck you want to do. Wear your hair the way you want to wear your hair. If people don't like it, fuck them. Fuck them. At some point, you got to actually stand up and do what you feel as though is right and just be yourself, and eventually things will change. If no one ever did that in history, nothing would have changed, Like, I'm looking over to the side, I got books, from a lot of the all-time greats, especially all-time great black leaders, who stood up for things, and these people, they didn't allow society to just be like, oh, well, we're not going to fuck with you, so you gotta do things the way we want you to do them. No, like, no, right? People are never going to respect you if you don't be yourself, if you don't be you, if you don't do you. So at the end of the day, even the people who are doubting you, they're going to lose respect for you if you listen to them. Even though if you're doing what they want you to do by not pursuing your dreams. But if you pursue your dreams, they're going to respect you, even if you don't succeed, quote unquote. Even if you fail at it, quote unquote. Because at the end of the day, real recognize real. And most people, they wish they can go out and pursue their dreams and try to make them happen. And if you can make them happen, you may be the talk of the town. You may be the talk of their conversations with other people when it comes to conversations like this. But I don't want to rant too long. If you guys like the video, hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know if you guys want me to make a video on something else. That's my time for today. Thank you for your time. Peace.